Can you increase volume? Ah, okay.
Okay. For my part, I will ask. Actually, this is my friend's part, but I cover her lah. Okay. So the first one, how is your business classified under Malaysia SME definition? Like, is it your business micro, small, or medium?
Well, I would say small, because the business is more of a family operating mode.
And then, can I know how many full-time employees and like a total sales per year of Suka Suka Lake Retreat?
Okay, it is more of a sole proprietor, which is under my wife, and I'm co-assisting her. And the business is a more of a family-run business with uh, five employees, which is actually on a sort of a part-time contract.
Oh, I see. Okay, so the next one. Have you received any support or incentive from SME Corp Malaysia or maybe from government agencies?
To be honest with you, actually, the business is more of a family initiated, and we chose to be independent in the sense that we can develop it as and how we wish.
Okay. Um, what are the advantages and challenges of operating your business? Maybe like the biggest challenges you face?
Ah, okay. It all started actually. I might as well go back into the background. Yeah, it all started when we wanted to actually take a break from our standard routine in the city, and we choose to sort of explore the rural areas. Yeah? Somehow or other, it transcends into the opening of our ideas. Yeah? About what opportunities hold out in the rural area. So we tend to sort of learn to appreciate the so-called luxuries of rural living, and the comparison that actually uh, initiate us to sort of look at tourism as a base of uh, our way of life. So when we went into the village, we found that there are a lot of positive identities in village living, which later we translated into uh, tourism uh, uh, opportunities. So that's how we initiate the original thought of the business. And surprisingly, uh, from the initial beginning, we found that it is very what is called encouraging. Encouraging in the sense that because when we went into the village, we realized that living is based on a totally different concept. Yeah. What I mean is, it is more on living per se. You're not talking about fame. You're not talking about financial gain and things like that. You're talking about living in the context of being with nature and relating with like nature and people.
Okay, and then I want to ask next question. How do you stay competitive as a small business in the tourism sector?
Very interesting thought. Actually, competition is not in the aspect of rural living. It is more of a complementary concept. Yeah, complementary in the sense that one actually sort of uh, uh, relate to each other in the sense that you have to expose both parties or both segments. Right? So when you talk about competitiveness here, you're talking about not with the within the village, but I don't know, in a sense outside of your environment. Yeah? You're talking about uh, say effectiveness and efficiency. That doesn't have a problem in the village, okay, in comparison to the city. So this is what I'm trying to say, that there is no competitiveness in that sense, but it is more complementary, uh, per se. Okay. So when we talk about developing the business, it's more of providing more information to the outside world or to the world outside, I mean, where we can share our living wage. So it is more like I said, sharing of living wage, which actually conform to the complementary coexistence. You
Okay,
follow
quite
what I mean?
interesting. As a small resort, how do you think your business can help the local community and tourism in Malaysia?
Well, that is actually what will happen when you sort of establish a business in the village, in the sense that you complement to the sustainability aspect of living in the village. Yeah? What I'm saying here is you tend to hire people from the village. You tend to what do you call, get your resources from within the village, in the sense like uh, vegetable, fish, groceries, and things like that. Workers in the sense like carpenters, gardener. You have people from within the village, and the skills are available. It's only harnessing it in the proper way.
Okay, that's all from me. So next.
So, can you describe especially the concept of the business and how it differs from the competition around
Okay, like I mentioned earlier, the concept of business is basically exposing to the others the way of living in the village. So it's like sharing your way of life, and that actually does not exploit too much of the skills within. Yeah, and then when you do that, obviously culture aspect will sort of be the main factor. Okay, and as such that your culture will obviously be different from many other cultures. Mm. So it's like sharing what you have and exposing the culture aspect of your village.
So would you say that the business currently has a human growth dimension?
Sorry.
Would you say that uh, the Suka Suka is experiencing growth in terms of finance or volume of people?
Okay. Actually, when the concept was first thought of, and then when we established Super Suka, it is more starting off with friends and relatives. That helps us to sort of feel uh, the implementation of things, whether it's acceptable, whether there are areas where we should improve on and stuff like that. And then it goes along that way. But we thought of that a good business is formed on uh, personal passion. Yeah. So that's how we wanted to share the living way, our living way at that point of time, right? And then it extends to the whole village. Right? And when we talk about sustainability, that's how we thought about using local resources, uh, acquiring from the local the items that we acquire and something like that. And when we market, we thought of marketing it not in like what they call it, trying to make it a big fuss about it, but we wanted to slowly expose our concept and ideas. Uh, so we went through like responsible tourism, sustainable tourism, rural tourism, cultural tourism, because this will sort of attract the people who are really interested and have a passion for this kind of concept.
Uh, so how is there any recent or planned expansions to the resort? Say new houses or new expansions?
Okay, starting off, when we talk about sharing the village living ways, so we have to sort of exploit the few aspects of village living. One is the village home itself, the houses itself. So we're talking about what do you call the original Malay architecture and things like that. And then we define that by actually acquiring those old wooden Malay houses and re-establish them back in our land and then refurbish them so that people can appreciate living in those houses and understanding the architectural aspects of those houses. Yeah? Secondly, of course, they say there is no better way to a person's heart except the stomach. So we tend to sort of share our local food. Yeah? And then, of course, the combination of the spices and whatnot will differ from places to places. And we, of course, try to expose them with the very local dishes that is available. Okay? And thirdly, we thought that it is good to expose our guests with a little aspect of the cultural practices. So that's why one of the main aspect of our package is to show our guests how to dress in the sarong. And this is more applicable, I would say, to the foreign guests. But to our surprise, our local guests also tend to appreciate it. And, how to wear the sarong, the various aspects of wearing the sarong, the benefit of it, and things like that. And then also share on a little bit about the other practices like eating practices. So we show them how to sit on the floor and enjoy eating with the hands instead of the fork and spoon. And then the fourth aspect is a little bit about the games that we play. You know, of course, Chongkak will be the easiest model to show. And then we have the Seremban, the Dam. Then, of course, uh, to give some what do you call a deeper aspect, we also show the art of Sila. Just a demo, not a combat. Yeah, just a demo. Mm. So these are the aspects that is pertinent to village living. And obviously, uh, the last but not least is the ecosystem within the village, you know, showing them the herbal plants, the coconut trees, the banana plant, the papaya trees, to be sort of to give that homely feeling of staying in the village.
So, so speaking of these homes, has there been new additions of houses here within the last few years?
Yes, we tend to sort of got into the habit of adding more units. Yeah? So now we have 13 old authentic wooden houses, the oldest being a 1901 that we have restored and refurbished.
What would you say is your approach when leading the company? And has it changed over the years?
Well, I guess the beauty of running a rural business, when you talk about sharing your way of life, uh, with passion, of course, yeah, then you tend to uh, sort of display some consistency. And this is realized with feedback from our guests. The fact that why we ask some of our guests when they repeat their stay is that this is that there is consistency in our product, and sometimes we got to, we're surprised by this kind of remark. But that is the reality because when they say that, I tell my friends, for example, that they have this wonderful dish and being consistently serving those dishes, their friend will be able to appreciate that, you know, thing. Otherwise, they say that if you are not consistent, and when they come, they couldn't find a dish that was appreciated by the earlier guest.
So would you say you have grown together with the area around the Lembah area for the years?
Yeah, unfortunately for our choice of place, although initially it was not planned. Yeah, initially, of course, you know that 30 years ago, Lembah Lagong was not known in the sense of our today archaeological wonders. Yeah? But something like 16 years back, um, the discovery of the Perak Man and the development of the archaeological wonders of Lenggong helped us in expanding the business. And
So one of the main markets that Super Super usually promotes itself in.
mean what?
Um, the main markets. From where are you bringing the customers?
Main motive.
Market.
Market.
Local,
Sorry.
international.
Sorry, I lost my hearing a bit. Market. Uh, over the past years, obviously our main market is foreign market. I would say that 70% of business now is foreigners. although initially it was more than like 80% of the market. Uh, Obvious reason, of course, the requirement, their requirement to experience what I mentioned just now, the aspects of our culture. And so this is an opportunity for them to really go through the experience. Uh, One of the things that we also do is like taking them for a walk around the village, explaining to them the various aspects of the village organization, plants, especially herbal plants, cooking herbs and whatnot. And these are the things that interest the foreign guests. Yeah. But I'm not saying that today's experience, even our local guests, a lot of the younger generation are not exposed to the environment in the village.
Right. Next question is, what is the working culture here in Sukasukra? Is it most the working culture? Is it
Working.
mostly monetary incentives?
Okay. First, I would say that the aspect of village living is actually appreciating nature and living ways. Yeah. Away from what you call the so-called luxuries of modern world. Okay, because we're talking about one, fresh air, like what I would say, fresh air. Two, serenity, right? Three, tranquility. So these are the luxuries of being in the rural areas, and appreciating them will actually provide the benefits after years, um, especially in terms of health. Okay. So the concept of living is different. I'm not saying good or bad, but I'm saying it's different from living in the city.
The next question is, you- originally you had stopped it on an island named the Middle Lake. Now it's been uh, somewhat inactive for a few years. Is there any plans of reopening it?
Sorry?
Are you planning to reopen the island?
Oh, yeah. The development of today's social system is quite interesting because people tend to uh, sort towards health aspect of things. Okay, so when we talk about health aspect, obviously the village offers that opportunity, right? Or a remote location like the lake here offers that opportunity. So we are actually giving that opportunity in the village and on the island that we have already established all these years. Yeah. Um, the concept of wellness, so to speak, is an interesting concept nowadays. Uh, So we tend to allow them to be marooned in nature on an island, okay, and then look into the aspects of health, like one, exercising, for example, movement, physical movement and whatnot, within the natural environment. So they do trekking, they do kayaking, things like that. And then we talk about food which is aligned with nature, like herbal rice, for example. You know, to many, the word of mandi ambon is alien. Okay, but that is actually the cleanest water when you talk about ambon. Yeah? The cleanest water that you can get in touch with. So these are the various aspects that we would like to share with our guests in the coming years.
Right, I think that's it from me. I think colleague Ali Hassan would like to take forward from me.
Can you hear me?
Hmm?
Can you hear?
Hmm?
Can you hear?
I cannot hear.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
No, I cannot hear.
Yes. Okay, now can you hear me?
Oh
I,
yeah, I
I,
can't hear.
I'm beginning to hear something.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm continue with the question. How does
You can.
literature to current market this
Brick.
Sorry, Ali, I think you're breaking up. So in light of the technical difficulties, maybe I should ask your question instead. So, how does Supersuper respond to sudden market disruptions, say COVID-19?
Oh, interesting. COVID-19 actually affected us almost completely because at that time our gas market actually comprised about more than 80% from overseas. Yeah. So with that inhibited travel and things, um, we hardly have any gas, yeah, during that period. So, which is actually not a bad opportunity, and this is like what I like to stress. Uh, Circumstances are always opportunities. It all depends on how you perceive it. It was an opportunity for us to relook at what we have achieved or we have done in the last years, yeah, and then also to see how we can exploit the situation when there is nobody around. So we look at nature itself and say, oh, we can develop the herbal garden. So that's one of the things that we took advantage during the COVID period is to develop the herbal garden and then do the fish rearing, things like that. Yeah. But of course, we believe that the COVID episode is a short episode. It will last. But what is important is when it ends, how are we prepared? So this is how we look at it. Yeah. Opportunities comes in the worst situation. Look at it that way.
So, is there any technology that Supersuper uses to operate the business smoothly?
Hmm. I think what we also realize over the years when we stay in the rural environment is that it's a totally different concept of managing. Yeah. So here we actually establish our own technique that we consider as um, kampung management style or kampung management system. Yeah. So you look at the environment per se. You just cannot look at compare in the city. We have to look at it, like I said, per se. So the environment, the people, the social system and the infrastructure. We don't talk about buses and cars and traffic jams and whatnot. We talk about bicycle, the convenience of walking. We're talking about motorbikes or whatever it is. Yeah, but we're talking about accessibility within that community is far different from the city. So when we talk about that, we do not see like uh, travel time. We talk about jams. We talk about delays and things. It takes 5 minutes for our worker to travel from home to our place. Right? It doesn't cost much also, and it's not too much effort. So you have to look at that. So the convenience is different than what we see in the city. So we compensate also in the sense that uh, you have not we have to look at the financial aspect of living in the village. You're not talking about a month. We're talking about daily. So that's how we look at it. So we compensate our workers daily so that they will always have ample, what you call, finance to cope up with, daily. And it makes a lot of difference. Like if you provide a monthly income, for example, right, there will be a period where they will probably mismanage the fund, or run out of fund, I would say, rather than mismanage, run out of fund. So when you provide daily compensation, you remove that opportunity for such circumstances. So they do not have that issue. So you do not have opportunities of not coming to work because lack of funds and things like. It's a totally different way of looking at it. And then you also provide like opportunities uh, to earn extra, like resources. For example, vegetable. Some of them grow vegetable, and you can acquire the product from them, and that helps again the financial aspect of things. So it's a totally different area where if you take in the city, one worker probably rent a house and things like that and go to work and hopefully be able to earn enough to compensate all the costs. But down here, we don't talk about house rental. We don't talk about travel costs. Yeah. So those are the things. It's a different opportunity to look at what do you call the situation of every worker.
So how has Fitness in the past dealt with new opportunities and threats and trends?
Um, like I think we prefer to look at um, what do you call not viral growth. We prefer to look at more stable growth. Yeah. So it is based on the feedback of the customers. And I think one of the best marketing um, technique is customer satisfaction. When you provide the customer with the expected, of course, you have to have the expected what you call service and service delivery, then that becomes the marketing tool. Because when the customers give the feedback, that is much better than the brochures that we can provide. So to be honest with you, we have no brochures. We don't even have signboard. Okay.
Has there been any change in terms of booking?
Booking method has always been through uh, direct reference, or nowadays they tend to be agencies. There are agencies that actually come in contact with us, and then they are the one who do the marketing for us.
Is there any training system that Suka Suka employs for its employees?
Well, the basic system is reward when it happens. Okay, this is what we say, that when an employee perform a task and perform it well, you reward it that day. You don't wait for the month. You don't wait until the end of the month, or you wait until the end of the year to say, "Oh, best employee award." No, it has to be at that point when the performance was delivered.
So how does Suka Suka make decisions on certain issues? Is it a discussion with employees or direct from top management to the employees?
Opinions have to be sought, of course, but then let's be fair. When we talk about foreigners as our main guest, our local employee may not be exposed. So it is more, I would admit, that is the top down. It's sort of not instruction but learning, top down learning. Yeah, uh, telling them what are the sensitivities, or um, reflect to them the different living ideas, and even we're talking about practices, daily practices. That's how they see. Like when we show the foreigners how to use their hands instead of the forks and spoon, right? So they can appreciate that there are different ways of doing things. There is no value set to it. So we are not supposed to compare in terms of value, but compare in terms of doing things differently.
Right, that's from me again. Zuma, perhaps you'd like to continue.
Okay, I would like to ask, what actually internal problem that you frequently deal with? The internal problem. Do you
Internal problems.
have?
Can I say the internal opportunities? Because,
Sure, sure.
okay, the internal opportunities that we have sometimes that uh, in the aspect of like maintenance, right? Now, wooden houses, of course, will require higher maintenance. Right? We're talking about termites, we're talking about bubo and things like that. But because of that, we also learn uh, about how to prevent that. And then we can share that with our guests. So it becomes a product, right? We share with them how to deal with termites, how to deal with bubo and things like that. So we say, oh, in the olden days, for example, when you use atap roof, so you smoke the house. When you smoke the house, you prevent the insects and the termite from coming in. So if you talk about challenges, those are the challenges that we face. But those challenges, I think, can be converted into a product. Yeah. I mean, how you handle with it. Yes.
Okay, next. Has digital marketing or e-commerce presented any challenges for your business?
Has there any, have you had any challenges with e-commerce or digital marketing?
No, actually, digital marketing is always very complementary to what we are doing today, because um, I mean, the digital aspect of things will even open up in reality rather than just verbal, but it allows people to see. Like, for example, when we serve them dinner on the floor, when you use e-commerce, people can appreciate by looking at those pictures and appreciating the situation and see whether they can enjoy it or not. Yeah. Because I think one of the better, I'm just saying that marketing is getting the right people, the right, yes, the right customer to your place rather than any customer. Right?
Do you face any issues in hiring or retaining skilled employee for your business?
Do you have any issues in hiring or retaining skilled employees?
Surprisingly, we have employees who have been with us for 18 years. Yeah. So it is not an issue, but it's understanding the characteristic of things. Like I think when somebody get married and when they have children, they may not be more available than they were before. So then you have to anticipate that and then look at other resources. Yeah.
Okay,
About the
okay.
carpenters?
Huh?
About the carpenters?
It's just like the carpenters. Most of the carpenters they come of age. When they come of age, they become no longer physically able and things like that. So you have to have in the background, somebody to take over. So that's the part of where you need to anticipate what is going to happen. I think is applicable anyway.
Okay. Okay, last question from me. What are your future plans for expanding the business? Maybe locally or internationally?
Um, I would say that interesting that way, but I'm thinking about enhancing the business by providing greater exposure to our guests into the culture, um, um, and not only into the culture, but I think into the village living ways. You know, so when they can appreciate that when you do the herbal walk, for example, they can appreciate that uh, you don't need to go to the supermarket to cook because it's available in your garden, right? So then you see the dependencies. This is where we have to explain to them the dependencies differ living in the village than in the city. In the city, if you have a transport problem, you may not be able to cook because you cannot go to the supermarket. But here, you just walk down the on your ground and you can access to the herbal market, things like that. Mm.
Okay, so that's all from us. Thank you, Cik Abdullah, for letting us interview you.
Okay. One of the things that probably I like to share with you is a good thing about if you can live in the village without plastic, that will be heaven. Okay.
All right.
Thank you all. Thank you for your interest and thank you for the opportunity to share with you a little of my thoughts. Yeah.
Thank you for taking your time, answering our questions today. Wish you the best of luck for the business for the years to come.
All right. Both. Yeah.